Rex, it's raining outside.
I can see that, Junior.
I don't have an umbrella.
Why not?
I'm an elephant. I have a trunk.
That is not what a trunk is for.
I've been using it wrong this whole time?
We are doing the umbrella today.
Finally, something useful.
The word umbrella, from the Latin umbra, meaning shade or shadow, not rain, shadow, because the umbrella was never meant to keep you dry. It was meant to keep you out of the sun. This is the umbrella.
The umbrella is older than you think. Much older, and for most of its history, it had nothing whatsoever to do with rain. The earliest evidence of umbrella-like devices comes from ancient Egypt, China, and Mesopotamia, dating back over 3,000 years. In these cultures, a large shade canopy carried over a person was a symbol of enormous power and status. Only royalty and high priests were permitted to walk beneath one. The person carrying it was a servant. The shade itself was a declaration. This individual is too important to be touched by the sun. In ancient Egypt, carvings and paintings show pharaohs being shaded by elaborate canopies carried by a temple. In Assyria, similar images appear on stone reliefs. In ancient China, the parasol appeared in ceremonial processions as a marker of imperial authority. The number of tiers on the canopy indicated rank. The more layers, the more powerful the person beneath. This association between shade and status persisted for centuries across multiple civilizations. The word parasol, which shares its root with umbrella in many languages, comes from the Italian pari, to shield and sol the sun. To carry a parasol was to announce that you were someone worth shielding. The Greeks and Romans adopted the parasol enthusiastically, though with a significant cultural complication. In both societies, carrying a parasol was considered acceptable for women but deeply unmasculine for men. A Roman man seen sheltering under a parasol risked considerable social ridicule. Shade was for women and for the very powerful. For everyone else, you simply endured the sun. This gendered association would persist in Europe for well over 1,000 years. The waterproof umbrella, the version designed to repel rain rather than block sun, emerged in Europe during the 16th and 17th centuries. The innovation was largely practical. European climates presented rather more rain than sun. The existing parasol design was adapted with oilskin and waxed coverings to shed water, but the cultural resistance was fierce, particularly in Britain. For much of the 17th and early 18th centuries, a man carrying an umbrella in London was a figure of mockery. The umbrella remained associated with femininity, with foreigners, and with a certain kind of excessive delicacy that English culture did not warmly welcome. The man who changed this was Jonas Hanway, a British merchant who in the 1750s began carrying an umbrella through the streets of London. He simply refused to stop despite the considerable public ridicule directed at him. Hanway had spent time in Persia and knew its utility. For 30 years, ecarried its enduring mockery from coachmen who saw the umbrella as a threat to their livelihood. By the time Hanway died in 1786, the umbrella was beginning to gain acceptance. His stubbornness had outlasted the mockery. The next transformation was mechanical. The early umbrellas were heavy, unwieldy, and not particularly effective. Frames were made from cane or whalebone. In 1852, Samuel Fox, a British steel manufacturer, invented the steel-ribbed umbrella frame. The Paragon frame. Fox had originally been producing steel corset stays, but a surplus of steel led him to experiment with umbrella frames. The result was transformative. The modern umbrella, recognizable to us today, was essentially born in 1852. The Victorian era saw the umbrella become a fixture of British life. The bowler hat and the umbrella became the unofficial uniform of the gentleman. To be seen without one in uncertain weather was a mark of poor planning. The umbrella had completed its journey to an everyday democratic object. The umbrella also became a diplomatic and political object. Take the iconic image of Neville Chamberlain arriving back from Munich in 1938. The umbrella, in that moment, came to symbolize a particular kind of English optimism, or depending on your view. Naivety. The 20th century brought further innovation. The telescoping compact umbrella was developed in the 1930s. Materials evolved from oiled silk to nylon, and yet the basic design, a canopy on a central shaft, has remained essentially unchanged. Today, somewhere over 1 billion umbrellas are produced globally every year. The vast majority are made in Shangyu, China. They are bought, lost, left on trains, forgotten in restaurants, a cycle so reliable that they are one of the most commonly lost objects in the world. The umbrella began as a symbol of divine power, reserved for pharaohs. It was democratized by one stubborn merchant who refused to get wet. 3,000 years. One canopy, one central shaft. Shade, then shelter, then simply something you grab when it looks like rain.
So, the umbrella was never about rain.
Not originally, no.
It was about telling everyone you were important.
Correct.
So when I carry one now,
You are keeping dry. That is all you are doing.
I'm choosing to believe otherwise.
Nothing is ordinary. We'll see you next time.